Hey guys, happy Wednesday Wisdom. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Suzanne Manchester. I'm a licensed athletic trainer. My degree is in nutrition. I'm a gym owner and I love helping people learn, no matter where they are in their life, how to move their bodies exactly right for them. And so today what I want to do is I want to talk about a very, very, very simple exercise, or a few different exercises that you can do at home no matter where you are in your fitness level. You might be brand spanking new to exercise, you might not have ever exercised, you might be maybe have recovered from some injuries, you might be sedentary, or you might be a full-fledged professional athlete, okay? The exercises that I'm going to go over today are something that anybody can do, and anybody probably should do, because it's basically about learning about the foundation of your pelvis and your spine. Okay, so just a little bit of education, because I love providing education. So the more, I feel like the more knowledge that you have, the more effective you can be when it comes to asking questions about yourself or asking questions about your body, or then actually then applying what I'm talking about to your own body. And of course, seek professional help locally if you have some more specific questions. So anyway, so what I want to talk about today is our pelvic floor and some really simple exercises that kind of anybody can do, and kind of what is your pelvic floor. So here's my handy dandy Sebastian. He's been around a long time, fell over a couple times, has some broken ribs. This is not what my clients look like, so that's important. But what I wanted to talk about was an area that we can't really feel from the outside or touch, but there's a ton of muscles that are in here, and that's something called your pelvic floor. So just to, like I said, a little bit of education. If you're not aware, okay, so everybody has these bones, basically. Pretty much everybody has them. And the bottom, this is called your spine, and the bottom of your spine is something that we call your sacrum, okay? And it's surrounded by these two big bones called your innominate bones, okay? And so, AKA, also known as your pelvis. And then the very bottom of your sacrum is your tailbone. I broke that a couple years ago, pretty painful. Try not to do that. Then these bones right here are the bones that you sit on all day. They're called your ischial tuberosities, otherwise known as your sits bones, okay? So then we've got our big pelvis bones, and this is where a lot of muscles attach, and they attach into your hips. And then we're going to turn them around, and we're going to talk about this part here called your pubic bone. So you have a left pelvis and a right pelvis, and in the middle, you basically have two pubic bones, and in the middle, that's where they actually come together. So if you think about, there's four things I want you to think about that I just talked about. The first is called your pubic bone. Then we're going to turn them back around. We're also going to talk about the tailbone, and we're going to talk about the sit bones, okay? And so when you're sitting, I'm going to sit in just a second and show you. You actually create this bowl, okay? Now I can't really, because of the way that the skeleton is hooked together, I can't really move its pelvis very much. But when you're sitting, what happens is those sit bones basically drop down, and then your pubic bone pulls up a little bit. And what happens then is you've got this nice little diamond shape, which you can kind of see right here, okay? So inside of that little kind of bowl is a ton of muscles, okay? Tons of muscles. Some of them are where they attach to your hips, some of them are just on the inside, some of them actually attach around on the back of the sacrum. So it's a really kind of, a lot of times people talk about their core, but we don't really know what that means. I like to talk about our middle, right? Our trunk, the base of our trunk. And our pelvic floor is kind of what that is, the base of our trunk. So what you're gonna do, so the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to see if we can find our middle. And if you can, grab a couple towels and a belt, like a belt from your robe, and we're going to do some exercises with it in just a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to find the middle of your sit bones and your pelvic floor. So when we're sitting real upright, and I recommend if you can sit on a little bit firmer surface so you can really feel your sit bones. So when I'm in the middle, this is what we basically call a neutral spine. I'm sitting straight down. I can feel my sit bones. I know that I'm sitting straight down. So we can also learn how to do a cat and a cow. So what we're going to do first is we're going to actually, and be sure if you have any serious back issues, seek medical help before you do these exercises to make sure that they're all right for you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do something that we call a cat. Okay, so if you're on your hands and knees and an angry cat, they'd be arching their back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you that what you're going to do is you're going to think of your pubic bone coming up, which is here. Okay, your pubic bone's coming up. When you do that, your tailbone drops down, your rib cage drops down, and your collarbones come forward. Okay, so I'm really rounding my spine here. My tailbone goes down, and I'm on the back. I can't really even feel my sit bones because I'm sitting back so far in my glutes. That's what we call a cat. Then we're going to do a cow. They have a sway back, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull our tailbone up, drop the pubic bone down, the back will arch, and the shoulder blades will come together, okay? So this is for full spinal motion, but also to get some awareness of what's going on with your pelvis. When I'm back, I don't feel my sit bones. I'm on my tailbone, but I don't feel my tailbone. When I'm up, I feel my sit bones, and now I feel a lot of my thighs, okay? And my tailbone's coming way up. So you can play with this just a little bit, some cats and cows. If you want to add your shoulder blades, you can go nice and slow so you can really feel that motion. And then see if you can find your middle, okay? This is, like I said, what we would call a neutral spine. Okay, so from here, we've talked about having that little diamond. I'm going to face you now that we're in the middle, okay? We're going to find that think about that diamond, okay? And all of that tissue that's in there, what I want you to think about doing is I want you to think of taking that tissue and gently drawing it up, okay? So when you do it correctly, what happens is you start to feel some stuff in your glutes contract a little bit. You'll feel a little bit in your lower abdomen contract. A lot of times when people first start doing this, they actually hold their breath. I don't want you to hold your breath, okay? I want you to just think, draw up, and then draw out. So you can also think of it as you have to kind of hold in your urine. You got to pee really bad. And then you get to pee and you got to let it all out, okay? So it's kind of that motion. So it's like an up and you feel some contractions. Try to breathe through that. We'll go over this a little bit further in the future. And then relax. So it's like almost like a jellyfish type of motion. Draw up and then fully relax. And really starting to be aware of that. So then from there, once you feel like you have that, what I want you to do is grab your towels. I like to have them be a little bit thicker. If you have a yoga block, you can use a yoga block as well. Find your middle of your pelvis again, of that pelvic floor. Your feet are going to be a little bit narrow. You're going to draw the tissue up and then gently squeeze the towels. What you're going to feel is you're going to feel your adductors contracting a little bit more, your lower abdomen, and you'll really feel that pelvic floor engage, okay? And this can be hard work for some people. So I can sit here and because I've been practicing this for a long time, I can hold this for quite some time, have a conversation with you. You have no idea how hard I'm contracting. I'm not really contracting that hard because I can have a conversation with you. But now I'm going to relax, okay? And you probably maybe saw a little bit of my belly move, but you didn't really see much of anything else. But you can actually relax and let your hips kind of drop out. So that's one exercise. The next exercise, what you're going to do is you're going to just take your belt, whatever that is. We're going to tie it. Now you can tie it, or you can just kind of wrap it around a little bit. So you can see I'm still about hip width apart. I'm just going to hold this because I'm not going to push hard. So what you're going to do is, again, you're going to find that pelvic floor, draw up, hold it. Now push your knees away from each other. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing that way out into the belt with both of my knees, okay? Good, while you maintain that pelvic floor. And then relax. And we're gonna do again, pelvic floor first, and then push out. So you're gonna feel some different stuff in the back of your hips working to help you with that. Now you can even make this position a little bit different by pushing your legs away from each other a little bit more. So you might feel a little bit more if you do that, okay? So I've got the belt held here, I'm drawing up, and then I'm just gently pushing out. Okay, now I feel my glutes a little bit more. Okay, so feet are about shoulder width apart on this one. And again, I'm not pushing hard. I'm pushing so I feel like I'm working. And that's about it. Hold it for 5 to 10 seconds and then completely relax. If you want to work towards holding these longer, you can go for that as well. So I hope that that was helpful. I hope you learned a little bit about the pelvic floor, about how to start some exercises for it. Make sure when you contract that you also work on the relaxation part. And we'll see you next week.